Hi everyone, welcome back to Real Talk with Lady Dayane. In today's video, we'll be talking about depression.
I belong to you. I belong to you.
I decided to make this video because I have been myself suffering from depression. Often people think depression is a sign of weakness, especially in certain communities. Depression can affect everyone, kids, adults, women, men. No one is safe from depression. And in today's video, I'll be talking in particular about the type of depression I was suffering from. In 2020, the World Health Organization made an estimation where depression was number 4 in cause of death. I'm saying this is to tell you that depression is not just a joke. Depression is not just a change of humor. No, it's something that is deep. Mental health is something that we don't really see, like, it's not a broken arm, but it's something that is very important to talk about, because too often when people goes through depression, through mental health, we feel alone, feel like people don't understand us, because it's not a sickness such as my head is broken, my foot is broken. It's not something that people can see. We tend to isolate ourselves. Coming out of depression, I feel like, because I've been there and I've seen the damage this can cause, it's only right to talk about it. So when you go through depression and you feel like nobody understands you, nobody's there for you, you end up by suffering in silence. And suffering in silence is something that is, first of all, unfair. You act like everything is good, but deep inside, you do know it's not like that at all. It's really unfair for people to live like that because they are scared of what other people may think of themselves. That was my case as well. They are scared that people may judge them, In my community, depression is not really something we talk about. When you find yourself from a very young age suffering from depression, because we don't talk about depression, you don't really know that you are suffering. You take time to understand this is what you're going through. I took time to understand I was dealing with depression. I feel like we need to bring awareness on those issues that seems to be taboo in certain communities. And for me as a person, it's kind of like a mission for me to tell other people that those things exist, It doesn't mean that something is wrong with that person in the way that, she's possessed or she's a bad person. It just means that this person needs a particular type of attention, a particular type of care. This is what I decided to do by opening up about depression. So now we're gonna talk about 4 different types of depression that also affected me. So the very first one is the major depression. So doctors call it major depressive disorder. So people who suffer from major depression are people who feel depressed most of the time throughout weeks. So when I was going through my depression, I was just sad most of the time. Sometimes people who knows me will be telling me, you're weird, like you're fine, and then 5 minutes later you're just a different person. I was fine because I was trying to mimic what a fine person supposed to behave like. And obviously you can't lie forever, you can't lie to yourself. My depressive side will just take over. Going through depression, I didn't really feel like I wanted to do anything with myself, I was just living one day after another day and just asking myself, when is this going to end? And when I said this, at the time I didn't know it was depression. I was like, when am I gonna be okay? It took me a very long time, like I said, to understand actually I was going through depression. I didn't know what was depression. Where I'm from, we don't talk about it. This thing doesn't exist. It's either you're okay, you're sane, or you're crazy. That's the way they deal with things. I used to think that I was crazy, that I had something living inside of me. You just grow up feeling unwanted, feeling bad. You would never fit in society because of this part that is inside of you. But actually you feel like that because there is a part that is missing, is the full connection that you should be having with yourself as a person was missing for me. So for a very long time I felt like I had a third person inside of me. But all it was I wasn't connected to myself. The second type of depression that affected me as well is the one we call seasonal depression. Why do they call it seasonal depression? Is because it's linked to the change in the environment. And this depression touch people mostly during the winter time. Why? Because days are now shorter. You see less and receive less sunlight. And we do know, if you don't know, I will tell you, sunlight is actually good for you for that natural vitamin D. So because now when winters come, you have this lack of vitamin D, lack of natural light, you tend to feel more in a low mood, more depressed. And if you are a person who also have this major type of depression, winter time makes your depression worse. During the winter, I used to never want to go out. Like, I just want to stay in my bed, you know. I had a job, I will go there, but I will just be sad. I don't talk to people. When people see me, they'll think like she's not a friendly person, because I was just dealing with myself. So it was really hard for me to enter winter time, because not only I had the major type of depression, but now I will be affected by the seasonal depression. The third depression that can touch us is postpartum depression, which also has the name of Peripartum Depression. Postpartum depression touch only women. Why? Because it's a type of depression that affects you after giving birth. Why does that happen? It's because after you give birth, your hormones level change very fast. And also, it's a new change for you to psychologically adapt to. If you're a parent for the first time, even if you're parents for the second time, it's just a different, different change, different event that you need to adapt to. So I suffered myself as well from that depression. It was very difficult because obviously now it's not just me being a depressive person, but it's me having a baby. I need to figure out how to be a mom. So all those questions in my head just makes my depression 10 times, if it wasn't 20 times, more scary. And also at the time that I was going through my postpartum depression, I also had to have the fourth type of depression that I'll be talking about. I had a complicated grief. So the same day I gave birth to my daughter, I have been told that my nan, the woman who raised me, the woman I see as being my mother, passed away. She did not pass away the same day, but this is the day I've been told that she passed away. So now, not only I will encounter postpartum depression, but also me having difficulty of grieving. It was very tough and very hard. Why? Because while I was going through this depression, I was living in a different country. I didn't have any of my immediate family on my side present, so I was just on my own, figure out a lot of things, how to be your mom, how, I felt like it was just a nightmare. I was just in a nightmare and I just wanted to wake up. So every single day for a very long time, I was just waiting for that moment where I could wake up. It's not everyone that are going through, grieving that will go through depression, but this can also happen because we are all different type of people and things affect us in a different type of ways. And depression can be caused by event that happened to you a long time ago, a type of trauma, It happened also if you went through any type of abuse, sexual abuse, you came out of a violent relationship. That can cause also depression. Death cause depression. When you lose someone that really counts for you can cause depression. But also I found that depression can also be genetics, which means that if in your family there is a history of depression, you also are more likely to suffer from depression. So now we're going to see how you can understand you're going through depression, or how you can understand that somebody else is going through depression. In order for you to understand someone else that may go through depression, you kind of need to understand how you can see the sign. Because I think when someone is going through depression, we tend to just lie to ourselves, lie to people. But if we have the right people who understand exactly, this is exactly what we're going through, those people can actually help us find help as well. So we're gonna see how we can see and understand that someone is going through depression. So there is 4 main ways that you can understand that people are going through depression. So emotionally, depression manifests itself by this constant sadness that someone is going through. You know, the constant change of mood that you can see. It's not because someone is crazy. It could also be a sign of this person is dealing with depression. You know, emotionally, it's like the person will be disconnected. You know, this person don't even care for themselves anymore. They just wake up, they will do the strict minimum if they have to. They just like turn themselves off. It's like you feel like this person has no feeling. This person is, you know, there without being there. Depression affects you physically as well. You tend to feel tired, you tend to have backache, you tend to have stomachache. This is all like part of the anxiety that depression brings you in as well. So backache, headache, feeling sick, vomiting, all these are the physical signs of depression. Somebody who's going through depression will manifest it in their own behavior. If you know someone is a very active person, you will see that this person is not really so active anymore. This person has no interest into things that she was interested in before. Could have been physical activity, anything that this person liked. You will feel like they dislike those things. They don't care about those things anymore. So depression also affects your cognitive capacities, your cognitive abilities. The cognitive capacity is the general aspect of your knowledge, which is your perception, your language, the thinking and making decisions. This is what we call cognitive capacity. Obviously, you can Google it and you will find the perfect English definition of cognitive, but this is how I can explain it. So when you go through depression, all those aspects will be affected as well. You can't think straight. You can't, you think negative. You don't really see in a optimist way. You don't think like that. You feel, you just want everything to end, you know. And this is why, like I said at the very beginning of this video, depression also is a cause of death, because a lot of people, when you can't handle everything that's going on inside of you, tend to, you know, do the unthinkable. I started seeking help because of love. Because of the love that I had for my daughter becoming a mother, I felt like it wasn't right for her to have a mother like me. I felt like she deserved a better mother than me. And obviously it was kind of too late because I was her mother. So I felt sorry for her and I loved her deeply. I loved her to the point where I needed to know what was wrong with me to be able to make her smile. I wanted everything that I didn't have for myself for her. That's what I can say. I had to wake up because I developed that love for somebody else. Because when you go through depression, you don't care about yourself anymore. But for me, having this baby in my arm, you know, I'm crying, and maybe other people feel like, oh, it's so emotional, a new mother. But I was crying because I wanted better for her, and that helped me into getting help. So one thing I would like to say is to everyone going through depression is, honestly, don't feel ashamed about what people think of you, because at the end of the day, you are the only one who truly knows how you feel. Whenever I was myself, it was really scary. It was at night when I'm just disconnected to everything, disconnecting of faking being someone that I wasn't, and I could just hear all my question, all my anger. Well, guess what? When we go through those times, we have no one there for us. So it doesn't matter how people see you in the morning. Just be honest with yourself. Take the time to sit down and ask yourself the question of why you're feeling like that. It's something that is very hard to understand, especially if you've been suffering from depression for a very, very young age. But then you need to seek real help. Don't be ashamed to do so. When I started looking into help, talking to my GP, I wasn't really honest, you know, because I was still scared, because a GP is just a person just like you and me. It's also a person, And I used to think that they're just gonna think I'm crazy. But at some point, I just couldn't hold anything in anymore. I wanted better for myself. I deserve better, because I'm just asking myself question. It's like, what did I do to the world? You know, what did I do to anyone that could justify the fact that I had to suffer the way I was suffering? And the answer was truly nothing. I didn't do anything to deserve to suffer like that. From that point, I started being honest with myself, honest with my doctor, honest with the people at the time that were helping me, that helped me to go back in my own life and understand everything that happened to me, and most of all to understand that those things wasn't my fault. Those things that happened before wasn't because I choose those things. It happened to me, but also it did not just happen to me. Those things are happening to other people while I'm talking. So I don't have any reason to blame myself for my life, and I have no reason to be ashamed of saying that, you know what, I am depressed, you know what, I am suffering. And because I did so, and of course because of the love that I had for my daughter, I am much a better person today. It's not something that you wake up overnight, take 1 pill, 2 pills, 10 pills, and then you're just another person. Is you're working on yourself. It's like anything, you know, it's like you're a student of your own person. You learn, you make mistake, you know, you fall, and you keep on trying, and then you will have this full connection of who you are, and understand that it's okay not to be okay. They have time, like I'm still low, you know, winter still affects me, no light, it affects everyone, but understanding it's something that is very important to help you go through it. So I'm gonna end this video here. I really hope that you liked it.